Lumos. Oh look, it works, and I'm a wizard. But I'm not here to talk about Harry Potter magic today. I'm here to talk about the magic of storytelling and the magical story of Beth Harmon in Walter Tevis, The Queen's Gambit. Now let me see if I can turn this one off. Knocks. See? I'm a wizard. In 1983, Walter Tevis published his novel, The Queen's Gambit, a 243 pages long story about a young girl's journey through life, a coming-of-age story, a story about how to overcome life's many problems, and also a story about becoming the best chess player in the world. I was 8 years old at the time, and I didn't learn about Walter Tevis or his stories until one night when I clicked play on the Netflix TV show The Queen's Gambit 37 years later. I watched 3 episodes in a row of The Queen's Gambit, and during that binge I started googling about The Queen's Gambit, and I found out that it was a novel written by Walter Tevis. So I opened a chat and I asked my friend Jan Smed, who runs the English bookshop in Uppsala, if he could get me The Queen's Gambit by Walter Tevis. And Jan answered, "Of course I can." And 2 days later I had the book, The Queen's Gambit. 243 pages of awesomeness. Anyway, so the English bookshop, I need to stay there for a bit, is in my view the best bookshop there is. I read most of my books in English, and Jan Smed and his people, Christer, and all the people working in the bookshop in Uppsala and in Stockholm, you are awesome. And if you don't know about this story, just check my description below. I will put a link to the homepage, and if you're in Uppsala or close to it, visit, but keep your distance and wear a mask. So anyway, that's how I learned about the novel. I googled the title, I got it from Jan Smed at the bookshop in Uppsala, and the rest is, as they say, history. After I had gotten the book, The Queen's Gambit from Jan Smed, I visited an online gaming shop called Spelexperten. It's a Swedish place. They have a lot of games. And I ordered my first chessboard, and it's the one you see here to my left or to your right. So, you know, that's what stories do, the magic of stories. They take you places, they let you learn things, they open up your perspective, and they give you new perspectives, and it's just awesome. And they also make you buy things, at least I did. That's the way I work. I encounter something that I really enjoy, then I want to keep enjoying that, and well, buying things seem to be one way, like getting the Elder Wand, you know, Lumos, Knocks, and also being a magician, a wizard, that helps. So what can I tell you about the story that Walter Tevis wrote back in the 80s, The Queen's Gambit? Well, I don't want to get into spoilers in any major way. I'm going to try to keep those at a minimum, but as I told you in my first review, I need the people in the story to be super well written, because those are the ones that keep pulling me back to the story. The protagonist, the good guy, needs to be a person that I want to get to know, or I want to learn more of. It needs to be a person that has a different perspective than I do, so I can perhaps maybe learn something, or have something to think about. And if the protagonist, the good guy, is poorly written, if he or she is weak, then the story falls. The same goes for the supporting actors in the story. They don't take up as much place or room as the main character, the protagonist, and so. But still, if they are wonky, wobbly, if they don't do what they're supposed to, or if they behave in ways that are weird, they will throw it off. Not in as big a way as the main character does if he or she is badly written, but still the supporting cast need to shine too. And the same goes actually, of course, for the antagonists. You need to, or I need to feel that it's a bad guy, and I need to feel that I want that one to fail. Like Voldemort, if you go back to Harry Potter, you know, with his wand, I really, really, really want him to fail. And when the people are written well, I can actually live with a story having flaws. I can live with some things that I don't really buy into, because the people in it still deliver this, you know, the feeling that I want. And it cannot be the other way around. You cannot have the story covering up for poorly written people. The Queen's Gambit is a quite short novel as far as I'm concerned. I'm used to reading like The Stand or, you know, It, or many fantasy books are thick ones. But in the 243 pages, I think a writer needs to be very focused on telling the story and not going off on, you know, sidetracks. And Walter Tevis does this in an extraordinary way. The story is completely focused on Beth Harmon from when she's 8 until she's 19, and he makes those pit stops where he needs to, and I think it's just magical storytelling. Everything that he goes through, from buying clothes at a discount store to having lunch at the embassy in a foreign country, everything is just weighted perfectly, I think. And I think Walter Tevis manages to get all the important things, and nothing in the story seems redundant. I'm really, really impressed. And I could talk to you about all the different parts in this story, about her first couple of years, about what happens when she's 13, how she goes through life, what kind of things she does when she comes of age. But that would be spoiling. And you might have seen the TV show, so I'm not going to be talking about her journey in detail. I'm just going to say that within these 243 pages, Walter Tevis gives you a fantastic ride. It's just, well, I've seen the TV show a couple of times already. I've read and listened to the book more than 2 times, I think 3, 4. And this is since November of 2020, so it's like 2 months. That's a good sign of how good I think this story is, and I think that you should give this a really good read. That's what I think. In The Queen's Gambit, Walter Tevis lets you learn about a handful of really interesting people, and he does it in a way that makes me feel, you know, good feelings toward all of them, almost. There are no real antagonists. There are some small ones, but this is not a good versus evil story. We have Beth Harmon, the main character, our protagonist. She's 8 years old when the story begins, and we get to follow her through her 11 years of life. We have Jolene, a girl that she meets early on in the story, and who comes to become an important character. And we have a lot of people that I could just, you know, spend a long time talking to you about, but I think that I would like to let you meet them on your own. I'm not going to spoil Mr. Scheibel, Benny Watts, Harry Beltic, Vasily Borgov, Mrs. Wheatley. You know, these people are for you to read. And all I can say is that I really like the way the people are portrayed, and I think Walter Tevis did a really superb job within the 243 pages to give these people life. It's probably one of the reasons the TV show is such a great TV show. the characters are easily lifted from the page and put onto the screen. So I'm going to let you do the reading. Even if you have seen the TV show, I don't really think that's a problem. I think that's actually a good thing, because those two, they bond really well. So anyway, what about the story? I mentioned that the story is a coming-of-age story, and I've also said that I'm not going to spoil anything, but still I want to touch upon the overview of the story. And it begins when we meet Beth Harmon when she's 8, and it ends when she's 19, and she encounters a lot of difficult situations in her early age, and she handles them and she works things out, and she learns from all of the problems that she has to work with. You can feel her trying her wings, failing, getting back up, and you know, moving on, becoming a better and better person, I think, even though she's not perfect at 19. And one thing that I will touch upon, which you know, because it's actually a story about chess also, it's that she learns to play chess early on in the story, and she also learns to play really well quickly, and that is one of her ways to actually get through life, get through hardship in the game of chess. So I think that it's a really clever way to paint her picture, her portrait, just to how she works her way through the game of chess. Is also how she works her way through life in many situations. It fits her like a glove. And one of the things that Walter uses to show this coming of age story is the game of chess, which she plays from the beginning to the end, and the story is actually a lot about this game. When I read the book and when I watched the TV show, it's just like a tutorial, because many of the things that, or all of the things that you get to see is it's actual chess. It's not made up. There is a Queen's Gambit, which is an opening strategy. There's a King's Gambit. There is a Sicilian defense, and so on and so forth. There is the Ruy Lopez, and there, you know, all of these things exist, and they make this story, in my view, awesome. And I want to learn how to play these things, and I do play chess now since I got the board, and I play online on www.leadchess.org. I'm going to put the link in the description, and also my username if you want to look me up and kick my ass. I'm not a super player, that's for sure, but it's fun. And I also know that Walter Tevis himself played chess with his son Will, so that's kind of cool. So this is something that Walter had in his person, and he actually, I think, also had a copy of Modern Chess Openings, and he learned how to play chess together with a friend. And when that happened, Will, his son, had beaten his dad regularly and quite easily, but then Walter and Walter's friend supposedly learned these chess strategies, and then the tables turned. So anyway, using chess as a way to show Beth Harmon's coming of age is a really brilliant move, and it's shown in a way that makes it feel more like the Avengers fighting Thanos than two people facing off across a chessboard. That's also something that is really worth noting, the way Walter Tevis makes chess feel like a boss fight in an action movie. Very, very well done. So it's a coming of age story, and it's also a story that deals with how a person with limited experience deals with really hard situations, and also a story about how one can go so far to become the best of something, in this case chess. So I think Walter Tevis does a super job in this story. That's pretty much that what I want to talk about in the story. Yeah, I think so. I don't want to talk more about the story. I want you to read it. I want you to get to your local indie bookshop. I really enjoy the indie bookshops. So if you have one close by, or if you can order from an indie bookshop online, do it. The Queen's Gambit by Walter Tevis. And when you're doing that, maybe you want to try out some of his other works. We have The Hustler, we have The Color of Money, and there are a couple of others. But I'm going to let you do your Googling and your ordering of books. I would love to talk to you about everything that happens within these 243 pages of awesome story, but I'm not going to. It's just not what I do. I want you to get the book, and I want you to read it and find out for yourself. And you might ask yourself, is it worth it if I've seen the TV show? And I would say yes, definitely, because the two actually give each other strengths. The 7 episodes bring out a lot from the book, since it's a quite short one, and together they work well together. So if you have seen a TV show or watching it right now, that doesn't matter. Get the book anyway. And would I be amiss if I suggested that you got it from an indie bookshop? Well, I think not. Use the small bookstores. If you have one locally, visit it and place an order if they don't have it in stock, or order it online from the indie shops around you, because they need your support, especially now when times are grim. So go get the book. Now, if I should do a comparison between the TV show and the book, like I said, those two are so much alike, because there are 7 episodes and the book is 243 pages. So they don't really miss much, and Walter Tevis wrote the story so tight and the characters so well that making the screenplay must have been really, really awesome, because you can just pick out the well-crafted characters and put them into the action. So I could spend an hour talking about the TV show when compared to the book, but then it would be too long and nobody would ever listen to it, so I'm not going to. But don't be afraid to watch the TV show and read the book. Do it at the same time, or whatever. It's just awesome. Do it. Well, that's pretty much it. I am finished. I'm done. This is me talking about Walter Tevis's The Queen's Gambit, published in 1983. It's 243 pages of pure awesome. Go get it. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for playing or watching, and well, on to the last part of this review. All right, you see me sitting here in my house upstairs in my little studio, and I'm surrounded by books. And since I don't have the opportunity right now to book interviews, because there are no writers traveling, and there are people are just sitting at home because of COVID-19, I decided to do these reviews, and I have quite a few stories here. I'm going to be reading and reviewing Louise Shiner's Outside the Gates of Eden. Now, this is not 243 pages, this is 954 pages. It's a big one. That one is going to be reviewed. I also am going to be reviewing this one, Stephen Gallagher's The Kingdom of Bones. It's a book about his character, Sebastian Becker. I've started reading it already, and you can watch my interview with Stephen Gallagher here on my channel. So that's one. I'm also going to be reading and reviewing Julia E. McKenna's The Green Man's Heir. So I've started reading that one too, and it's going to be awesome to review it. And you can watch my interview with Julia here on my channel as well. And I'm also reading at the moment, I've got many stories going. My friend Stephen Savile's Parallel Lines. So this is kind of cool. This is being turned into an audiobook too, so it's kind of cool to have this in my hand. You might see some of the stories around me from Stephen Saville here. We have this wonderful tome from Neil Gaiman, American Gods. I might review this. It's one of the more peculiar stories that I've read in a while. It's refreshing. It's almost like a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy feel to it. It's a little bit of a strange journey in this story. Really nice. And this one is also illustrated by Daniel Igneus. I think he's a Swedish guy. This is a really nice one. I also have The End by the Swedish writer Mats Strandberg, and I'm going to read this and review it. Yep. And I've got these two lovely books also, The Bone Ships and The Call of the Bone Ships by R.J. Barker, and you can watch my interview with R.J. On my channel, and also Stephen Saville, of course. That's a long one, I think over 90 minutes long. So anyway, that's what I'm doing, and I don't think that I'm going to be reviewing Harry Potter, because I think that's been done a lot. So with that said, I'm going to try my wizarding skills again. Lumos. See, I am a wizard. Now let me turn this review off. Thank you for watching. Nox.